Hello Taurus, and welcome to Sincere Tarot. This is your What Do You Need to Know for mid-February 2021 tarot reading, and your energy is the Fool. Sometimes this can be in Aries, but this is really about having trust in the universe and just being able to kind of make decisions almost like a child without having all this baggage, or it could be a really silly mistake. So let's see what this is. All right, what does Taurus need to know for mid-February 2021? All right. Wow. Interesting. Okay. I definitely feel like this is more the letting go and having trust in the universe is the energy that you're absolutely needing. So in the past, in the background, we have got the Hermit card. So this can sometimes be a Virgo, I believe. Anyways, this is really about, like, I feel like you may have gone through kind of the dark night of the soul recently, and you've really had a lot of introspection. You've really kind of looked inward instead of outwards, where all of these distractions are. And you've really got some old soul kind of energy and really tapped into some old soul wisdom. You likely are an old soul getting this card, watching this. Okay. But your energy right now is the Four of Pentacles. So, I feel like, you are an earth sign, and I feel like you might be feeling a lot of lack right now when it comes to things that you need to survive: money, food, job security, a place to live, secure connections with relationships. And you're really feeling a lot of lack mentality. Your heart chakra is a little bit blocked. You're feeling like you can't trust the universe. So that's interesting that you get this is your energy, is really just fully being like, you know what, I'm just gonna let go and trust the universe and step into, I don't know what, we'll see. Okay, so your energy is really that lack mentality. But what you need to know is all of that is coming to a close, because you have got what you need to know is the world. The world is, the final piece of the puzzle to see something full circle. It's a celebration card. It's you have finished this part of a cycle, and, everything is beginning to make sense. It's like a huge leveling up. And that's probably one of the reasons why you're feeling, really uncertain and maybe a bit of instability and just kind of this tightness. Because you are going through, or at least a certain aspect of your life, maybe with physical things, is really going through a transformation. But you really should be celebrating for how far you've come, how much you have accomplished. The energy in between, we have got the Nine of Pentacles, and this often represents independent wealth. I think that you probably don't give yourself enough credit where credit's due for everything that you have gained, what you've established, whether it is, physical, a physical place to live, real contracts, secure connections, money, business, things like that. You really need to give yourself, I think things are better than you're really giving yourself credit for. The outcome, we have got the Seven of Pentacles, and that is, in this deck, it's continued growth. You're continuing. So the outcome of this whole thing, I know you're stressed about money and stuff like that, but the outcome of this whole spread is that, you are continuing to nourish the soil so that your physical resources and needs will continue to grow. So maybe you feel like a little bit of lack because you're not seeing the long-term outcomes or the outcomes that you're hoping for yet, but you are creating the foundation and putting nutrients in the soil so that you will get more prosperity in the future. It's just a bit of a waiting game. You've planted the seeds. Be proud of yourself. It's just going to take a little bit more time to get the harvest, the benefits of the harvest. I'm not going to lie. You are probably not believing me right now, because one, you're coming up as the Four of Pentacles with that lack mentality, and then also you're being aspected by the Seven of Swords. So I feel like you are almost like playing mind games with yourself. You're, what's that called? Something bias, selective bias. What is that? Confirmation bias, that's what it is. So you have I think you're hiding certain thoughts and certain aspects, like positive aspects from yourself. And you might be doing confirmation bias with yourself, like, no, Sincere Tarot is wrong because this always happens and this always happens and this always happens, blah, 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 blah. But you're not really like thinking about all the good things that happen. But that's quite normal with humans because we wouldn't have survived without that. We have survived, it's in our DNA to focus on the negative and things that might harm us or kill us or something like that. And that's how we've survived. But it can be a bit difficult for our mind sometimes to focus on the positive. So if it's possible, maybe try and have a little bit more trust and think about positive confirmation bias. I still feel like, even though I think you need to physically have something in your hands to be like, okay, I've accomplished this, I've gained this, I have this to really feel success, even though energetically you're getting there. I feel like you're going to kind of beat yourself up a little bit. I feel like you're really going to be stressing yourself out because the only negative cards are swords and they're mainly thoughts. So you might think everything's going wrong or this is wrong and there's everything wrong with this and, you know, whatever. But those are thoughts. Just because someone thinks a thought doesn't mean it's true. Think about all the thoughts that you've thought that are not true or have not turned out to be true. Anyways, it's a lot of them. Let's get some clarification cards. Clarification cards for Taurus about the situation in mid-February, please and thank you. Oh, interesting. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Okay, so for some of you, this is going to be about a relationship. I feel like you being alone and maybe cutting yourself off from a particular person. Look, this could be love, it could be romantic, it could be friendship, it could be business partnership, okay? I'm just gonna say like it is a love relationship, but I think that's only for some of you, not for all of you, okay? But you have had in the recent past some time alone, and that is what has allowed for you to almost like detach and look at a particular situation and maybe even at yourself a little bit more objectively. Sometimes when we're around someone all the time or talking to them all the time, when we're quite close, we can't really look at them clearly. So sometimes almost like taking a step back, we can look at them as a whole and our connection. And I feel like you are going to have a higher perspective on your connection with that person. You're feeling lack maybe in a particular relationship. It could be a love relationship, it could be another partnership. And you know what? This can sometimes represent the masculine and the feminine within. So it could be also the relationship of different aspects of yourself that you're feeling like there's certain aspects of yourself that won't put your best interests first. This whole thing that is ending, like what's coming to completion, right? Like it is ending, it's done, it's finished, and these transformations can be quite difficult. Doesn't literally mean death, by the way, okay? It's just the ending of a cycle. And I feel like you have a lot of new ideas about how to build your wealth. You haven't necessarily like stepped forward with them, but I do feel like you have the stability and funds that you need to be able to do that. I think that you will, even though you're going to be stressing yourself out like hell, you are going to be able to step back and like, this is super objective. This is like the Queen of Swords, which was in the past, amplified with adjustment, also known as justice. You're really going to be able to powerfully step back, look at your work situation or your love situation or whatever relationship this is, and look at it from a very detached manner so that you can make very rational, logical, and sensible decisions. Some of you might be stressed out about, this is either about like a young male, and I mean, it doesn't have to be romantic, it could be like a nephew or something like that, who you feel like is maybe a little bit out of control or over-controlled, one or the other. But it could also be about something that you have put some effort that is emotionally satisfying, that you've put a certain amount of effort into, and you might be a little bit uncertain about what direction you want to go. Even if you think you know the direction, that might come from a place of it has to be this way, this is the only way to work out, but you're still like, I don't know. Yeah, and I feel like for you to actually get out of this thing that you're not looking at, this thing that you're hiding from your own mind, in your different part of your mind, is something either to do with work, okay, or a relationship, because the Three of Pentacles can sometimes represent you, the other person, and this represents the relationship, okay? But also, if you need to, I feel like what would be really helpful, this thing that you're not seeing, this blind spot that you have, if you just get a different perspective from someone whose, perspective that you value and trust. You don't necessarily need to agree with them all the time, but everyone's imagine if we went around, maybe I'll start doing this. Imagine if we went around to every single person that we knew, like whether it was an acquaintance or whatever, and just be like, what is something that you see in me that you think I don't see in myself? And we could just get a plethora, a wealth of knowledge. Anyways, for you to see this blind spot, you might want to ask other people. And even if they say something that you're like, no, that's not true, it's like, really just take a minute to pause and breathe that perspective in and really think about it. And maybe even ask more questions or ask someone else for their perspective. This person thinks this, what do you think? To try and see what that blind spot is. All right, let's get some advice cards. What advice does Taurus need for this situation in mid-February? Yep. Whew. Wow. 3 out of 4 of your advice cards are major arcana. The first one, we have got the 7 of Cups. So there is some smoke and mirrors going on. I feel like there is some confusion in your life. It could be about your thoughts about work or relationship, or it could be someone else altogether. I feel like for most of you, it's you. If there are any addictive behaviors that you have, that could be really what's making it super confusing, like drugs, alcohol, stuff like that. Or any type of like mental illness. This could be someone, I feel like for most of you, it's you, but there could be some other aspect that is really confusing you right now. So there's this whole like confusion that kind of needs to be sorted out a little bit, and it will be because, again, we've got the Justice card. So I feel like you are going to come back to balance and you are going to be able to see things objectively and clearly. Some of you might need to get legal advice, okay? And you might need to press charges depending on what's going on. Like if you've been robbed. Some of you might have been robbed by a partner, actually. Small amount of you. Interesting. Anyways, sorry. Anyways, it's like potentially someone who may have left you in the past. Okay, that's only for some of you. But you will see a bigger, fuller, more clear picture. I feel like sometimes when we get so emotionally wrapped up with someone or a situation, it's hard for us to really like kind of look with our logical, balanced, rational mind at the big picture, but you're going to be able to do that. The third advice card, we have got the Devil. So as an advice card, you're never trapped. You might get stuck in your head and maybe have negative spirals of thoughts. You might, again, be struggling with substance abuse, so please get help because you can always finish. Things can always change. You think you always have an escape. You can always change your situation no matter what. You always have a choice. Might not be the choice that you like, but you always have a choice in every single situation in your life. And the final advice card, we have got Death. So this is the end of a transformation. This is the end of some sort of a cycle, and it is going to be difficult, shedding away this dead skin, things that don't work, but you haven't quite begun to come into who you truly are yet because you're still getting rid of some of that dead wood, but it will totally be worth it in the end. If you'd like a private reading, send me an email or check out my website. That is all in the description down below. You can also follow me on social media. Thanks to everyone who's liked, shared, subscribed, hit the notification bell, commented below. I do monthly, mid-monthly readings, and if you're still here, secret bonus card. Ooh, 4 of Swords. You need to heal. You need to rest. You need to chill. Your soul needs nourishment, rest, sleep in, whatever it is. You got some healing to do. I hope you have a good month. Bye.